What's up, everyone? Jason Gilbo here with Rob Mazaika, taking a look at NBA value plays for tonight's 9-game slate. Overall, a couple blowout concerns, but I mean, pretty much every game sitting over 200. I think OKC has the lowest team total on the board tonight. So, I mean, we're looking at pretty much a pretty good slate.
Yeah, I like the slate tonight. There's a lot of options. You could play everyone in every game pretty much. Even with the blowout concerns, there's still players with value who I'm still considering.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll be kind of getting to some Spurs guys. You're a Nets fan. Usually you like to say it's going to keep things close, but you're realistic. You're honest with us tonight and think the Spurs will just blow them out.
Yeah, I can't see the Nets staying close in this one. The Spurs over the years, they just absolutely destroy us. But, I mean, there's still some good value plays in the Spurs since Tony Parker's out, Pau Gasol's out, and there's going to be guys who have to pick up the slack and even play some garbage time.
Yeah, definitely. And we can kind of jump into point guards. We'll talk about Tony Parker's replacements. I mean, Patty Mills played over 30 minutes last time out. But we're looking at Murray. I mean, he's kind of a sneaky option. Maybe not so sneaky anymore. But, I mean, last two games, crush value, shooting guard eligible on FanDuel, which is a big plus, point guard eligible on DK. I think he's going to get an extended run blowout regardless.
I think so, too. Mills is probably going to be your cash game option just because I think a lot of people will typically play just Patty Mills when Tony Parker's out. And the matchup can't get much better against Brooklyn. But Murray, he's the tournament option for me tonight. Last two games, he's got over 20 minutes, put over 23 fantasy points in both games. And if he can get me over 20 minutes at his price against Brooklyn, I'm perfectly fine with him using him in my tournaments.
Yeah, I definitely am too. I mean, I think those guys are going to be the key value. You're also looking at Chris Paul, who's been out. We're still dealing with the situation of Ray Felton, Austin Rivers. I still kind of prefer Felton over Rivers just a little bit, more so on FanDuel. DK, Felton's up there in price, 5,600. For some reason, Felton just looks like a better player. I think in terms of a floor, it just seems a little bit safer, even though they've been fairly similar in terms of scoring.
I prefer Felton too. I think he has a little bit more upside. Rivers, he's typically getting you about 25 fantasy points per game every game since Chris Paul is out, and he's priced 500 more than Felton tonight. So I'm gonna go with the cheaper option, and Felton's probably gonna see over 30 minutes in this matchup.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, and against Dennis Schroeder, definitely not opposed to taking point guards against him, one of the poor defenders in the league. Tyler Johnson's out. I mean, this Miami team, the rotation we've kind of made just an annual here where it's just we keep talking about these guys because they're always banged up.
Yeah, a lot of people are banged up tonight. Tyler Johnson out. That leads to a lot of usage going to Goran Dragic. So he's a guy I'm looking at in a little upper mid-range tier. Up-pace game against the Warriors. Steph Curry doesn't play a lot of defense, so Dragic he's in a good spot.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, if you're banking on that one, staying close, Dragic is probably going to lead the way. Outside of that, I mean, there are some cheap guys, with Chris Paul out, that obviously opens the door for Dennis Schroeder. I think he's a good GPP play tonight in terms of just being a low ownership pick because full 9 games, a lot of big names on this slate. I don't know how many people are actually going to look to him, especially with all the value that we just named.
Yeah, and the DVP on the Clippers is deceiving because, it's like Chris Paul's in there, the number you're seeing, who's one of the best defenders in the NBA. Felton and Rivers aren't the best defenders, and Schroeder should have a good game against them.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, that mid-range, the 6K range on both FanDuel and DraftKings is intriguing. I mean, George Hill, targeting opposing point guards against Russell Westbrook is always a nice way to go. I definitely don't mind him. Derrick Rose, I mean, I think with the full trio back, he's been playing well of late. I'm not really in on him tonight. He might be kind of my fade out of that mid-range.
I think he's my fade too. He just really needs to score about 25 or more points to give you an upside game. And with the shots that Melo takes and then Porzingis throw him in there, and there's just not enough shots to go around for him to get over 25 real points in this game.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I'd rather kind of go and take a shot with like a Jeff Teague if I'm going a little bit higher. Kyrie Irving, I know, is a guy you like tonight. Really nice price on both sides.
Kyrie Irving. He's probably the only guy I'd pay up for tonight at the position, just because I think Wall and Westbrook and Curry will gain a little bit more ownership. And I think Irving's going to be the lowest owner out of that little bunch, and he's cheaper. But we've seen him put up huge games before. New Orleans, it's a very good matchup for him because New Orleans, they play at a fast pace. They don't guard point guards very well, and he should be able to put up at over 20 points in this game, real points.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, you look at really that Cleveland team. Love's been kind of absent from the offense for a little bit now. It's really been Irving and James kind of running the show.
Yeah, definitely. And then one more guy a little cheaper that I like is Patrick Beverly. He's 5,600 on FanDuel. He's playing Milwaukee. Last time these two teams met, just last week actually, he put up 37.3 FanDuel points, had 12 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. But the thing with him is he's an elite defender and he's got the steal upside every game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, averaging two steals per game over his last six. I mean, he's a guy who's typically going to flirt with around 25 to 30 fantasy points. But I mean, as you mentioned, we see that upside as well.
Yeah, he's a safe play for cash, but he does have a little bit of upside for tournaments that we like.
Definitely. Moving over to shooting guard tonight, pretty weak position. I mean, there is James Harden. You do have, Greek Freak there at shooting guard on FanDuel. Um, I think paying up there, obviously, you're probably looking at Harden, but I mean, you can never really knock that discount there for Giannis.
I think the field's mainly going to pay either pick one of these two. I think most people are going to go Harden and then just go way down and play one of the elite values like Crawford or someone like that or Murray on FanDuel. But I like Antetokounmpo because he's 1,100 cheaper on FanDuel, and he actually brings just about the same upside that Harden has.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that triple double upside's there. I mean, both are the team's leading usage guys. If we're working our way down here, I think really that mid range gets cut out for me. I just kind of look at Batum. I mean, decent matchup against a Washington defense that doesn't particularly play well. Batum at home, I mean, always at a really nice price, and he's another guy. I mean, kind of sneaky triple double upside.
Batum, he's been a very consistent player throughout his career. He should get you near 5x every night. Yeah, like you just said, he has triple double upside. He has steal and block upside. He has upside in this matchup, and it should be a up-paced game, close game. So it's really a spot where he could have one of his better games of the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think if I'm not paying up at shooting guard, if I'm going, a different route, Batum's going to be a guy that I look to lock in there.
Same here. And then going down, I like Deion Waiters because Tyler Johnson's going to be out. And last game out where Johnson was out, Waiters had a career high with 33 points, and he's been hot lately. He just came back from an injury. And the Warriors, like I said before, are not the best defensive team at defending guards, strictly due to their pace, but he should be able to get a bunch of shots on this one. If they're falling, he could have a huge game.
Yeah, definitely. And especially because that mid range is just kind of bland. I mean, we do have Jamal Crawford, we do have Murray down there that kind of take away a lot of that appeal, but, not really looking at Oladipo tonight. Tyreek Evans not really in play. Bradley Beal, Klay Thompson aren't really jumping off the page at me. So it just seems like he's kind of that key guy right there.
Yeah, I'm not really looking at much people in the middle either. Like I said before, I think a lot of people are going to go studs and scrubs at the position, but there's some really good scrubs out there, like Jamal Crawford. He's been shooting 6 out of 27 in his last 2 games, which is terrible, but he still hit 5x his value. So, I mean, if it's 40% of those shots, that value is going to go up to at least 6x and maybe higher.
Yeah, definitely. And because he's been so bad, I mean, that price really hasn't seen a jump in over the last few games either. So, I mean, he's just been kind of mediocre, but at this point, for the price, it's still fine.
Yeah, he's only 3,900 on FanDuel, so I think his ownership is going to be a lot lower than it should be tonight. So I'm probably going to use him in my tournament teams.
Yeah, definitely. Anyone else a shooting guard? I mean, pretty limited there.
Garrett Temple maybe just because with Rudy Gay out, he gets a little bit more run. He should be a safe cash game play. And then my crazy play today is Wayne Ellington tonight. No one's going to have this guy, but last game he played 35 minutes with Tyler Johnson out and had 15 and 5, 25 fantasy points. And 2 games before that, he had 26.3 against the Rockets. So it's another spot where if he's going to be shooting well and gets the volume, that he could really smash his value.
When we look at that Miami team, I mean, really probably outside of Whiteside, there's no real blowout risk because they're just so decimated in terms of depth. I mean, those guys are still going to be running 30 minutes anyway.
Yeah, someone's going to have to play for them.
Yeah, so small forward, and I mean, interesting because you got these pay-up options. I mean, Durant, James, Kawhi Leonard, all potential blowout concerns between those 3 games. I think Leonard's probably the highest. And then we kind of got the mid-range of guys that, you and I were having a conversation about, Mel and Paul George and what they've been doing this season. And, Melo definitely has the higher upside, but George, I'm just intrigued with that FanDuel price at 7K.
Yeah, the FanDuel price is very tempting. He's only 7K, but honestly, when I pay 7K for a guy, I want over 40 fantasy points for him in a game because I'm not going to win a tournament with a guy at 7K to get me 34, 35. So I just don't see that from him tonight. But it could happen. Melo is not the best defender, and we've seen Melo. Uh, we've seen games where Melo and the other small forwards go back and forth shooting threes the entire game. So it could happen.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a guy, obviously GPP only for me. I'm not really looking to use him in cash games, even though he's had a decent floor. I do want a little bit more, but I feel like there are cheaper options I just kind of rather use because small forward is kind of there's the superstars and that's about it.
Yeah, it's probably the weakest position on the slate tonight. I actually like Leonard for tournaments a lot. I mean, I said that game's gonna blow out, but there is the chance that it does stay close. And the way that Leonard's been playing lately, he's been unbelievable, scoring over 30 points in his last 6 games. So if we can get a full run from Leonard against Brooklyn tonight, and if the Nets can somehow keep it close, there's no way Leonard's going to come high owned. So I'm okay with using him in tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, he put up nearly 50 fantasy points against Brooklyn in 27 minutes last time out. So, I mean, if you can get him around 30 minutes, 32 minutes this time, I mean, obviously, I think that same upside is really there.
Yeah, plus with that price, 9,800 on FanDuel, like no one wants to pay that much for Kawhi Leonard. So I think the right game theory play is to use him and hope it stays close. And he has as much upside as Durant and LeBron and the other guys up there. He could outscore them.
Yeah, definitely could. I mean, you look at Kawhi, I think, with no Tony Parker, no Paul Gasol, all those other guys have 4 or 5 healthy options around them,
Yeah, his fantasy points per game, points per minute actually goes up I think 1.5 points per minute when Parker and Gasol are off the floor, which is a huge jump, surprisingly. So, like I said, if he gets over 30 minutes and against the Nets, that probably goes up to almost 2 fantasy points per minute, and that's an insane amount.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's that huge upside. But I mean, small forward, I mean, on DK, you have a couple guys that you mentioned, like Deion Waiters, who's, eligible. Outside of that, I mean, Joe Ingles is probably the one that's the cheaper option that we're looking at.
Yeah, I like Ingles. He's second in the league now at shooting 3-pointers, even though he doesn't shoot many at all, but he shoots at a fairly high percentage. But he's only 3,900 on FanDuel. Last game out, he only scored 2 real points, and he still had over 5x his value.
Yeah, I mean, we look at him, that defensive upside is there. I mean, this is a guy who can notch multiple steals per game. His peripheral stats are solid. They make up for that lack of scoring. So, I mean, I'm fine with using him on FanDuel. DK, 4,800 is a little expensive for me. I don't think that really upside is there. I'd rather kind of take a roll with, MKG or Trevor Ariza, who are just a couple hundred more because they do have that upside.
Yeah, I like MKG a lot tonight. I've been using him the last 5 games. He's had over 30 fantasy points in every single game. It's an up-paced game. There's going to be a lot of run that fits his style, the faster games he really excels in. And he's not the highest price either, so he still has a lot of upside with him.
Yeah, and another guy I know we wanted to kind of touch on, obviously Sam Decker coming off a career game there, 30 points. Ryan Anderson likely back tonight, so this should drop down. I mean, do you think he's earned a little bit more run here, though?
Yeah, I'm sure he'll get about maybe 24, 25 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, I think so too. And I don't mind it in this matchup because obviously Milwaukee's one of the weaker defenses in the league.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like you said, he had a career game last time out, so it's going to be tough for them to sit him after scoring 30 real points.
Yeah, definitely. Outside of that, I mean, I'm not really looking at a lot of these mid-range guys. I mean, Gordon Hayward, kind of off of him tonight. I mean, I'm a big fan of his, but I think on tonight's slate, I'm not really looking to use him.
I think this is a position where a lot of people are going to look at the value plays tonight.
Yeah, I think so too. Mooner power forward, and I mean you like Paul Millsap is your favorite kind of pay up option, right?
Yeah, just as a cash game because he's never going to get you less than 30, but he's never going to get you over 50, so he's a safe play.
Yeah, I like him a lot, and obviously against a weaker Clippers defense right now that's just kind of struggling, a safer option, I think. And Draymond Green, I mean, he's a guy who's always kind of consistent as well. I don't mind him in terms of a cash game since, always a triple-double type guy. But I don't know how much I'll be actually paying up at this position tonight.
Yeah, there's a lot of value. This is actually probably the best position on the slate for value. Just, guys in the mid-range who could produce, guys low-range that could produce. There's not much at the top range at the higher price because there's Anthony Davis and there's pretty much everyone else.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kevin Love's been, okay of late. I mean, it hasn't really been anything great for his price tag. LaMarcus Aldridge, I mean, I think he's a solid GPP guy. I still like the cheaper options, but if this one stays close, I still think Aldridge is going to take a lot of usage down there in the paint.
Yeah, like I said before with Leonard, if this stays close, Leonard and Aldridge should have absolute monster games because both Parker and Gasol are out, and that leaves a lot of usage to go to these guys.
Definitely. And we were talking about Kristaps Porzingis, before the show. You watched that next game against Phoenix. Didn't quite look right. I still like him in GPPs, but I think cash games, he's obviously off the table.
Yeah, I watched that game the other night. He just looked out of it. He wasn't involved in the offense. He wasn't even trying to get involved. But the matchup is too good for him to pass up, really, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I love targeting guys against Indy, especially power forwards and bigs. So, I mean, I'm looking at him, especially with the price drop. I mean, I like his price on FanDuel, but 6,800 on DK. I mean, there's a lot of upside for that price.
Yeah, especially when you have a guy at 7'3", he could block 5 shots in a game, realistically.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, in that same game, I mean, Thaddeus Young has crushed the Knicks this season. I like him a lot. And then obviously David Lee's probably my favorite value at this spot.
I think David Lee is going to be the chalk value tonight. I think a lot of people are going to be using him just because with Gasol out in the last 2 games, he's had over 30 fantasy points, and his price went up a little bit, but he's still a good value at 5,100 on FanDuel.
And I don't think he's going to average over 30 fantasy points moving forward. I still think you're going to see Deadman in certain matchups, but I mean, this is a guy who's probably going to play 25 plus minutes a game now.
Yeah, and against the Nets.
Yeah, I mean that says it all. So I mean, great spot there. I think outside of that, those were 2 of my favorite guys. I mean, I don't mind Tobias Harris tonight. James Johnson, always an intriguing GPP option if you're banking on that game staying close. He does have that defensive upside as well.
I don't mind either of those guys. Yeah, James Johnson, he's actually been playing really, really well lately. Going up a little bit more, I like Enes Kanter. It's a revenge game for him against Utah, and with Adams out, I think that brings a little bit more usage to him. He's not the best defender, and Utah is a very tough matchup for him. So if he doesn't get in foul trouble, he should at least hit his value.
Yeah, definitely. And I think he's at a price tag still worth looking at. I mean, even though it's obviously come up because of his great play of late, but I'm kind of curious to see, his ownership. It could be a lot lower than what we've seen of late.
Yeah, I think so too. And then one last guy I'm looking at, it's Maurice Spates. This Clippers team, they just haven't been looking good, but Mo Buckets has been Mo Buckets off the bench. He gets a huge amount of usage when he's on the floor, even though he won't play more than probably 25 minutes. But if we can get some decent run from him, he's a solid option tonight.
Yeah, I mean, he's a high usage guy because, I mean, if he does get those minutes, which they seem to be all over the place, I mean, he put up 44 DK points, against OKC a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so he has upside. It's just minutes are always in question with him.
Definitely. Center tonight, I mean, I don't know how much I'll be paying up. I think obviously Cousins is the best pay up option, but outside of that, I mean, there's a couple mid-range guys that I don't mind, but this is probably the night of center that I'm kind of just looking to avoid for the most part.
Yeah, just like small forward centers, very ugly tonight. For value, honestly, Cody Zeller is probably the cheapest I'm going to go, and he's only 5K on FanDuel. But even then, I'm still not that comfortable using him.
No, I mean, you look at DK, I mean, David Lee center eligible, Cantor's a center. So, I mean, you do have a couple of different options. Miles Turner, great spot. I like targeting centers against the Knicks this year. He's a guy who does play better at home. I really like his FanDuel price. I mean, this is a guy, if you can get a double-double and get some block shots together, I mean, 35, 40, fantasy points is certainly doable.
Yeah, he brings a lot of upside to him. We've seen him score over 50 fantasy points a couple of times this season. And like you said, we like targeting bigs against the Knicks, so it's a good spot for him. Definitely.
And I mean, as you mentioned with, Adams possibly out tonight, I'll love Rudy Gobert going up against Enes Kanter. I mean, I just feel like a double-double, obviously, saw him put up a career game. But this guy's been really consistent, especially of late. Going up against OKC, who he did pretty well against earlier this year, logging a double-double. Probably my favorite kind of mid-priced, I guess you could say, upper-tier option.
Yeah, Gobert, he's in a really good spot. The Thunder are actually giving up the most points in the paint per game in the league this year. And like you said, with Adams out and Kanter's questionable defense, Gobert, definitely going to get a double-double. And if he can get maybe 25 points in this one, it's going to be a good game for him. Yeah, definitely. But outside of that, I mean, Hassan Whiteside was the guy you were looking at in GPPs. Yeah, I think he's my guy for tournaments. Just because last time out against Golden State, he had 28 and 20 with a couple blocks. The block upside isn't really there for him because the Warriors don't get a lot of block shots against them. But there's just no one on that Warriors team who could size up with him, contain him. Just they're way too undersized for him.
Yeah, I mean, he's 20 rebounds last time they played, and you're obviously looking at that type of upside. And the price really isn't all that bad on tonight's slate with all that value.
Yeah, and I really don't think he's going to carry a lot of ownership just because you got guys like Boogie, you guys got like DeAndre Jordan, Drummond, Gobert. People tend to play those guys over Whiteside, which I don't understand why, but they do.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Dwight Howard's a guy I might take a look at in GPPs, just kind of seeing his price. I mean, 6,900 on FanDuel, I don't mind him. A decent matchup against the Clippers front court.
I don't mind him either. The only thing is Jordan's good at drawing fouls, so he could get in some foul trouble, but 6,900 is a great price for him.
Yeah, definitely worth the risk. Anyone else here?
That's it for me.
Yeah, so that's what we're looking at tonight. Be sure to check out our articles on dailyfantasycafe.com. Cheat sheets will be up later today, and good luck, guys.
Yeah, good luck. I want more screenshots tonight.